Around destination, not just a place for the winter season. Mature patrons not left out by organizers of Old Year's Night events. The Public Service's decision to end remote work being questioned. And coming up in sports, 4 worthy nominees for the Sir Garry Cricketer of the Year award.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC NewsNight, starting now.
I'm Shane Jones, leading the news at 7. Last night, we saw the video of many airplanes on the runway of the Grantley Adams International Airport, an indication of the work being done by the Barbados Tourism Marketing Incorporated to bring airlift and, of course, thousands of tourists to Barbados. Tonight, we'll hear from the BTMI about what it is doing to increase visitor arrivals to the island. To give us more information on that is BTMI Chief Executive Officer Jens Trainhardt. Good evening, Mr. Trainhardt. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening, Shane. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for coming on. All right, let's start here. What more, particularly as it relates to new marketing initiatives, is the BTMI doing to attract visitors?
Well, I think what makes Barbados so unique and what I've been able to learn over the last year is that I think it must be one of the best places in the world, truly, because where on earth can you find a place in a radius of less than an hour where you can have all these experiences from one of the best surf spots in the world, over 500 restaurants, some of the best beaches, and we see it when we look at our sentiment analysis, how the beaches are still rated very strong, but also culture and heritage, nature-based tourism, and everything in between. And that's something that you can have, in a very compact package, and then coupled with, safety and also healthcare and education, all of that together. I think that's what makes Barbados unique. And what we are doing now and have been doing is really to tell that story. I think Barbados is not just a winter destination, but it's an all-around destination because, with festivals like Crop Over and Food and Rum and Run Barbados, all very successful and covered by media from all over the world, I think it opens Barbados up for new opportunities for existing source markets that only saw it as a winter destination, but also new source markets to look at it from a whole different light. And that consumer demand, that drives airlift. Because the more demand you have, the more people want to go, and the more sense it makes for airlines to add flights to the island.
Okay, wonderful. So you're talking about our product offering, and you said it's opening us up to new opportunities. But let me ask this. Are we getting those new opportunities and tapping into new markets yet?
Well, as you saw yesterday, over 15 airlines on the tarmac, is a statement and a proof of the hard work that the team has been doing over the last year, preparing for this. And we have to remember that just a few months ago, we were still wearing masks. We're in a volatile situation where some of the airlines don't have the capacity, still training to add pilots. Staffing there's a labor shortage. And all of that together, I think we're able to now position Barbados very favorably going into 23 and especially into 24 and beyond.
Okay, so we're looking forward. Okay, CEO, do you think COVID will have any long-term impact on people's travel patterns and habits?
Yeah, I think obviously we see a lot of pent-up demand. People want to travel, and I think that is strengthened by people having felt being locked in for a period of time. And I think as now travel opens up, people are looking for that purpose. They want to look and connect to local communities and have these experiences. And again, that's something that sets Barbados apart from other competing destinations. We have all these experiences, but many times people don't know about them yet. See it just as another beach destination. And again, we need to make sure that together with these experiences, but also with events and festivals, we position Barbados in a whole different light. And I think that is something that other destinations, especially in the Caribbean, to my knowledge, and globally, having lived all over the world, are not able to offer.
Okay. Well, as we look ahead to 2023, as you were alluding to, what are the major challenges you've identified and how do you intend to overcome them?
Well, I think, as I mentioned just now, I think we're still in a very volatile situation. There are many things that we don't have control over because, being an island, we are dependent on airlift. And so right now, when we talk to airlines and we have these long-standing relationships with airlines, with cruise lines, they tell us that they want to come to Barbados. Barbados ranks very highly with their customer base, but yet, it is obviously very difficult because they're retraining their pilots, they have capacity issues, and so on. And so for them, coming out of COVID is also very difficult. But I think having these relationships, that puts us in a whole different situation and makes the destination a lot more resilient than maybe other competing destinations.
Okay, thank you so much for speaking to us, Mr. Trainhart.
Thank you, and Happy New Year.
That was Jens Trainhart, CEO of the BTMI. Well, patrons hoping to dance the last night of the year away will have no problem finding the right spot to do just that. As we hear in this Sharika Griffith report, several event promoters will be catering to a mature crowd this Old Year's night.
A three-course buffet-style dinner and traditional Bajan breakfast when the sun comes up are among the plans for patrons of Q Dance. The event is being held at Highgate Bar and Restaurant in Dash Valley, St. George. Operations manager Keisha Brown says it will be staged on the venue's 3 decks, which can accommodate over 2,000 people.
They can expect a fully enclosed dance floor as well as a lower deck for dancing. Of course, no rain. It's going to be covered. So you can come out in your finest. Fireworks, well, we will not have any at Highgate, but we are able to see all of the coasts, both Sandy Lane, Hilton, everybody's fireworks from the vantage point of how the bar is situated.
Over at Buddy's Soca at Lower Estate, St. George, entertainer Lil Rick will be hosting his first All Year's Night dance, Amigos para Siempre, or Friends Forever.
The majority of the fans are for the younger people, and nobody don't really promote stuff for the mature crowd. And I got a lot of young people that love dance music and want to learn to dance and stuff like that too. So it's not only mature people or older people. A lot of young people getting into the dancing and thing now. Even myself. We got free glass of wine for the first 150 people that come in, and we got makers, we got the hats, we got drink specials, and we got a wonderful a big cast of the top dance DJs in Barbados.
So this 2 years, boy, that we ain't had a dance. All years let me jump and prance.
And event promoter Terry Toyan Bino is inviting patrons to the 5th annual Black and Silver Old Year's Night Ball. He's promising nice oldie goldies and good back-in-time music.
The last 2 years, I would say, was very hard because people can really keep events, and keeping the event needs to be limited at least about 200 people. And 200 people can't really make no money. I would like to say to the Barbadian public to come out because it's 2 years. And 2 years that you don't really come out, you have one mask on your face, now everything is free. So actually this is the right time for Bajans now to come out this All Year's Night.
2022 marks the first time in 2 years that All Year's Night events aren't significantly limited by COVID-19 restrictions. Sharika Griffith, CBC News.
Thanks. Well, as Sharika was just telling us, in just over 24 hours, restaurants and private promoters will be hosting lavish Old Year's Night parties across the island. However, while many are in their final stages of preparation, a few of them have been forced to cancel. These are some of the graphics that have been in circulation on social media today, signaling a number of planned events for tomorrow night will not come off. Most promise full refunds, expressing regret at circumstances beyond their control. Terencia Coward-Thompson of Enigmatic Events told CBC News the weather drove the final nail in the coffin for Enchanté.
From as early as Christmas Eve, the area was experiencing rain. Although not exceptionally heavy, it was consistent. And we were monitoring over the days. And yesterday evening, there was a check. Yes, the ground was wet. We said, okay, maybe if we get 2 days of consistent sunshine, being today and tomorrow, we might still be able to pull it off. That was just us in our layman's terms. The rain fell last night. Simply put, the rain fell last night, adding to an already wet ground, making setup pretty much a challenge.
Ms. Coward-Thompson says for her team, safety comes first.
And in any sphere of business, there's going to be a challenge, and you have oftentimes to put your patron above your greatest desire to put on a show. And for the safety of all, workmen and patrons alike, it was in our best interests to cancel the event. We wish to apologize to anyone that this may have caused some inconvenience to. I know many people were looking forward to having an excellent All Year's night, but there will be others.
Another weapon in government's arsenal in the fight against gun violence in Barbados comes into effect on Sunday. The Firearms Amendment Act 2022 will result in stiffer fines and harsher penalties for those engaging in criminal activity with a firearm. Attorney General of Barbados Dale Marshall told CBC News the amendments will strengthen the arm of law enforcement as well as the judiciary in relation to punishment for firearm offences. He added that the government is launching a campaign to educate the Barbadian public on what the amendments will mean.
Previously, the Firearms Act provided for mandatory penalties, mandatory sentences. Unfortunately, those provisions were found to have been unconstitutional. That happened as far back as 2015. Given the upsurge in gun violence in recent years, we felt it was vital that while we might not be able to impose mandatory sentences in the same way that we did before, we felt it was vital that we strengthen the hand of the judiciary. By tightening our penalties, we will now have a situation where individuals who commit firearm crimes can get as much as life imprisonment for the commission of those crimes.
The Attorney General emphasized that those who aid and abet individuals engaging in firearm offences will be liable to the same punishment as the actual offender.
Individuals who conspire to commit criminal offences with firearms are going to be treated in exactly the same way as the individual who pulls the trigger. So if you solicit somebody to go and shoot somebody else, if you plan with somebody to go and shoot somebody else, if you participate with an offender in committing a firearm crime, you are going to be liable to exactly the same penalty as the individual who has the gun or who pulls the trigger.
Still to come, a trade union seeking a review of the Public Service's decision to end remote work. With public officers having been called back to office at the start of 2023, effectively ending remote work, one trade union will be seeking a review of the flexi hours work system. Word of this from General Secretary of the National Union of Public Workers, Richard Green.
The NUPW will also be asking for a review of the flexible work policy in the public service in light of the fact that the remote component of that flexible work policy will be suspended early in 2023 based on the correspondence coming from the Ministry of the Public Service.
Mr. Green also pointed out the main areas of concern for the union at this time. They include contracts being given to public workers, appointments within the public service, and the future of state-owned enterprises.
This is causing a number of human resources issues and labor management issues in the public service, where in many instances, in a number of large departments, vacant posts are not being filled, giving officers opportunity to act in higher position. The much talked about reform of the state-owned enterprises, again, too, will be of keen interest for the NUPW in looking at those reforms. What will be important for us to hear about will be the interest and the impacts on the levels of staffing, the training and retraining of staff to meet any new proposed modernizations or reforms of those state agencies.
From early next year, Barbadians will get the opportunity to learn more about local and regional history through documentaries showcasing the lives of Indigenous people. Hereditary clan chief of the Eagle Clan Arawaks and movie producer Damon Corey tells CBC News this will be possible as he and his team are actively working to complete and roll out several projects.
The Guama TV documentary movie, the PG version, that should be released any day now. It's in post-production in Caracas. The famous indigenous film producer there, Roberto Panuela, he's handling that. Should have it any day now. I hope to do other documentary projects in the Caribbean as well. The Portuguese St. Vincent government about doing a documentary about the great Chief Châteaubriand. That's never been done before. Also, an approach the Dominica government about doing a documentary about the great Chief Caribuana, greatest Kalinago chief in the modern recorded history of the Caribbean. So we have a lot of projects that we would like to roll out in the new year.
Since the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic, more Barbadians are turning to travel agents instead of planning their getaways by themselves. Janet Taylor of the boutique travel agency, The Travel Empire, says this stems from the fact that many people had bad experiences during that period.
With the advent of the pandemic and persons who would have had challenges during the pandemic with getting things either canceled or changed, and then they have to do it on their own, we found that during that time, those persons who would have booked one with us, the Travel Empire, or generally with travel agencies, did have a support. They had an advocate, they had someone in their back pocket who could have taken all of the burdens off of them to cancel their trips and to make sure they got a refund and basically, just take that load and burden off of them. So we're finding now that persons, would have understood the value of having a travel agent at their side to help them through that process.
And with many expected to take trips in the new year, Ms. Taylor is encouraging Barbadians to take out travel insurance as a precautionary measure.
During COVID, we saw that things can happen at any time, right? And depending on the type of cancellation policy with a particular supplier, would have meant that some persons would have lost money because they did not have travel insurance or for various reasons. So just putting it out there as well that travel insurance is something that you ought to look into to protect your investment. At least even if you don't get back 100%, you can at least get back at least 80-85%, right? So just encouraging persons to take out travel insurance if they can to protect their trip.
Wear Your Art. It's an exhibition of local artists, designers, and the National Cultural Foundation in the Queen's Park Gallery, giving Barbadians the opportunity to secure the work of local creatives. Curator of the gallery, Onika Small, told the Business Report the exhibition is in response to calls from the public.
In this show, we have work by, let's say, Same Raj Paul. So he's doing different t-shirts, he's doing bespoke trousers, so tailor-made work as well, so we can get that here. We have Odd Boy, who is a younger person, and they're doing hoodies and slides and t-shirts, which a lot of the younger people like. I bought myself one as well, so I got to keep with it.
The exhibition will run until January 7th. Designer Raj Paul said it is a creative side of the orange economy, and he is encouraged by the foot traffic.
Just the very fact of buying our own stuff that we do to use them as gifts that they use for other people. I didn't see that happen before, fam. But the way that's happening now gives me such encouragement to say, even today, we had a conversation and I was talking with one of the artists, Rasakiem, and Carol was like, you guys need to work together. I was like, yeah, that's what I've been telling Akiem. We need to do something together collaboratively. So there's all of that, and it feels to me like it's being much more facilitated, supported, encouraged than I've ever seen before.
That's our news. Good night, and be good. Thanks for visiting us. To get more stories like this one, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.